You have the countdown video? Good evening. Whatever part of the world you are, it's a great pleasure joining us tonight. My name is Gustav Achu. I'm the Executive Chairman and Chief Empowerment Officer for Icon IT. It's a great plumping pleasure to have you on the line with us today. And if you're on the line with us right now, no matter what platform you're watching from, please, can you just type the word hungry for me? Go ahead and type the word hungry. Let me know you're on the line and you're watching from whatever part of the world tonight. It's a great plumping pleasure. We're glad to have you here. It's a joy. It's a joy. Thank you for joining. Again, I'm the Chief Empowerment Officer and Executive Chairman for Icon IT. And our primary objective here at Icon IT is to help everyday people like you watching tonight be able to pivot into a new career in IT. If you're already in IT, it gives you a chance to be able to really accentuate, improve your career and be able to go places with your career, right? Our primary goal is to work with everyday people, just share some information. So tonight I'm going to be spending about an hour at the most to share some information with you, right? And this is going to be very lighthearted because it's usually said, right? Doing the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. And one of the things that a lot of people perish from is a lack of information, a lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of what is happening. So tonight I'll be spending some time talking to you about one of the highest kept secrets we have today. In fact, I called it the gold rush. For those who know a little bit about American history, there was a period in the history of America where there was the gold rush, right? And that's where a lot of the billionaires, a lot of the rich people, great families were able to leverage, and ordinary people also were able to transform their lives forever. There is a new gold rush happening, and I want to inform you about it. I want to educate you about it. I want to give you information on how you can leverage that, how you can join the movement, and how you can really help change things significantly for you. If you're like me, I remember the first day somebody talked to me about IT, and I was like, please give me a break. Don't talk to me about that thing. It's too complex. It's too complicated. It's only for people who are geniuses, who are smart. And for your information, I was never one of the smartest guys. I have to do a very clean and clear, transparent disclosure here, right? If there was a class of 50 people and the pass mark was 45, around the 42nd person, you hear my name and I'll slip through the door, just right there. But the one thing I realized when I got into the industry is that it's not really about your level of intellect. It's not really about your intelligence. It really comes down just to your level of determination, your hunger, your willingness, your ability, your desire to just want to change things for yourself, for your family, for your friends, and for your destiny, right? And so today I say it's a gold rush because a lot of people are quietly building a beautiful, comfortable, highly rewarding, highly enjoyable life through the bridge of IT, which stands for information technology. I know when you hear about IT, you're already thinking about some of those people we used to watch in movies, right? Who are IT geniuses, right? They have those big glasses, you know, they are geeks, they have their earphones on, they're on a computer typing, they don't want to talk to nobody, they don't want to deal with the world, they just make machines do things that humans cannot do. For your information today, I have news for you. I have a great surprise for you tonight. Everybody, if you are healthy, you have a right thinking mind, and you're hungry, you can be part of that revolution. I have been part of the revolution for the last 10 years, and I vowed to myself when I got into the revolution that I will spread the news to everybody who is willing to hear, because the returns are significant, because the changes that happens when you get involved are significant. It changes lives, it changes destinies, it changes things like nothing else can change, right? So when you hear about IT, I know you think a lot about those gigs, the computers and all of that, but IT is an industry, right? You hear it used colloquially today in different settings. IT industry, IT industry. What does that really mean? The IT industry is actually a conglomeration of different IT careers that culminates into an industry. I'll give you a very simplistic example, right? Which is an example I usually like to use to make my grand auntie understand what IT really implies. Take yourself going to the ATM machine. You have an ATM card, right? Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase Bank, whatever ATM card. Once you go to that ATM machine, you put in your card. What does the machine say? It says, welcome, Gustav. Can you put in your PIN number? I plug in my 567 or whatever number digits for my PIN number. Then the machine asks me, would you like to withdraw money? Would you like to see a statement? Would you like to transfer money? Would you like to deposit money? All those different actions. I choose what I want and I'm gone. But I'm here to tell you that that transaction, as simplistic as it is, or even like a transaction where you walk into the grocery store, you pick up a few pieces of bread, you pick up cheese, you pick up milk for the kids, cereal, you pick up toothpaste, toothbrush, and you come to the checkout lane and you check it out, and the young lady or the young gentleman picks up the items and just runs them through that scanner, and it scans and it scans. It's a very simplistic transaction. You pack your stuff in your bag, you pick it up, you walk to your car, and you go away. You don't even think about what is really happening. But I'm here to tell you that there is an army of people in the back end making it possible for you to have these easy transactions in your life. And a lot of people don't think about it because we really doesn't care, right? It's not everyday stuff. It's not, nobody thinks about who are the people making the ATM work, or who are the people making the grocery store checkout lane work. Nobody thinks about that. Nobody really thinks who are the people making my cell phone work, or the people even making it possible for you and me to be interacting live from everywhere in the world tonight at this time in clear voice, in clear video. Nobody thinks about that because that's what you don't really do for a living. So you really don't think about it, right? But the good news is that is where the gold rush is happening. That back end, that background which nobody sees, that is where the gold is found. That is where a lot of people, thousands of people, are quietly building successful careers, making tons of money, and building an interesting, favorable, and joyful life for themselves and for their families, right? So here at Icon IT, one of our primary goals is to just come out and share information with everyday people like you watching tonight. To just tell you exactly that if ever you had thought about IT as a career which is destined only for geniuses, you made a mistake. It is not. It is destined for everyday people because it's an involvement of software. It's an involvement of a combination of computer processes, right? I talked to you about the example of the grocery store. So let's go back to that example and just walk through it a little bit here and give you a sense of what it really does, right? So once you ring through those different things and they scan it and tell you, hey, pay for your stuff, you take out your cash, they hit the accounting machine, give you change and all of that, right? There are people in the back end who are making it possible. And how they make it possible is they are focused on different aspects of that process. There is somebody who is just in charge of something called a database. A database is like a storage unit. That is where all the information is kept. When you put your ATM card in the machine, you hit your PIN number, that is where the data is stored, because that data is stored in a storage with millions of other customer data for Wells Fargo, for example. There is somebody who is just concerned only about making sure that the network connects, right? There is somebody who is concerned about building that interface that you are able to see while they're ringing up your stuff and you're looking at the cashier's computer and you're seeing your bread, you're seeing your cheese, you're seeing your milk. There is somebody involved in just making sure the infrastructure, which are the computers, the mega computers in the background, and the computer and the processing units are working, right? So just to give, that was just to give you a sense of what the industry called the IT industry really entail, right? And so today, we've come to a time when in the world, a lot of things are moving in that direction. A lot of companies are getting very virtual. A lot of companies are working on developing different solutions to help them do business And this involves computers and IT processes. That is what brings us to that gold mine. That is what brings us to this era of the gold rush. Because every company in the world, if you have to survive, you have to have solid IT teams working in the back end, making sure that your systems are working and you're successful, right? So I will talk to you today about a few programs that are available, right? A few different things that you can do if you want to join this movement, if you want to join this revolution, if you want to make sure that you participate in this and be able to gain the different benefits that come out of being part of this. We're really, really grateful that you're online with us today. We don't take it for granted that you're spending this evening with us. But we also recognize that if you're tuning in with us tonight, it's because you're hungry. There is something you're looking for. There is something you're asking yourself. Something deep in your stomach here is just telling you, I want more. I want more. What is it that I can do? How best can I position myself? I hear the talk about the IT industry. Is it something I can do? What courses are there that I can do to help me get into that industry? And we're talking about an industry which is representative of the top earning bracket in North America today and most parts of the world. I will share with you some pieces of information to really let you understand exactly what is happening. I don't want you to just listen to me tonight with my broad smile, 6'4", and believe everything I'm saying. No, I'll give you some information and you can go back and do your own research and find out for yourself exactly what is happening. Because as for me, I know what it did for my life. I know exactly the transformational capacity of the IT industry. And that's why we take the time here at Icon IT not only to talk to you about it, but to invite you to be part of it, to join some of our programs where we'll be able to teach you from the ground up, give you the skill, give you the knowledge, give you the hands-on experience, and be able to position you to compete for some of these jobs. And the rest is going to be history. I'm glad you're on. So tonight, I'm just going to share information with you on how you can get started, right? What is it that it entails? If you are even considering being part of this industry, what is it going to take, right? How do you get involved in this? Because it's one thing to know about something, it's another thing to know how to get to doing something. It's usually said, I come from Cameroon, and if I want to learn how to cook a Cameroon dish, I will talk to a lady from Cameroon, right? I won't talk to a lady from any other part of the world. So tonight, if you want to understand what it takes, how to plug in, how to be part of this gold rush, how to be part of this new era of transformation, of movement of information, of complete change in people's lives, Icon IT is here. We'll be able to help you, guide you, give you that information. So I'll just be sharing a few slides with you, okay? And I just want us to go through this. So basically, let's introduce ourselves first, right? And this is the Icon IT way, right? We're able to take everyday people like you online today, from zero experience to skilled professionals in just a few weeks. Most of our programs span about 6-8 weeks, some of them a little bit beyond that, depending on the kind of program, all right? But we're going to talk about that tonight. Now, welcome to the big leagues. I like this one because, of course, I cannot pay Shaq royalties for this guy. But you see the look on his face? This look on his face was when he was interviewing on CBS. And he was talking a little bit about the start of his career. And he said, when he was in Orlando for 3 years, he was the number one draft pick out of the NBA that brought him into Orlando, gave him, I think, about $30 million. And so he played in Orlando for a few years, and then they brought him over to Los Angeles. And so he said when he signed at that time, it was one of the biggest contracts in the NBA. $100 million for 5 years. And so when he moved to LA, he said he was at his home one day on a Sunday and he was sitting in his living room and his phone rang. He picked up his phone and he was the owner of the LA Lakers. And he asked him, Shaq, how you doing? He said, I'm doing well, sir. How are you? He said, I'm fine. He said, do you have a few minutes? Can you come over to my place? I need to talk to you. So Shaq drove his big truck, went over to the guy's place. He took him, he walked into his living room and he took him out for a walk in his garden. And as I started walking, he turned to Shaq and he said, how are you feeling? Shaq said, I'm feeling great. I'm happy. He said, yeah, I expect you to be happy. I just gave you $100 million in contracts. I know you should be a very happy man. Shaq said, yes, sir, I'm very excited. And then they walked a few feet further. He turned around and he held his hand and he said, Shaq, for a minute, if I gave you $100 million to play for me, how much do you think you're making for me? Right? Wonderful. So the reason I share this is because at that point, Shaq made this expression in his face because he was explaining to the journalist that it occurred to him that he's playing now in the big leagues. So if you are here online joining us today, you're listening to us, you're ready to play in the big leagues. I want to go past your mind. I want to go past your logical thinking, and I want to go straight into your heart, because that is where your true desires lie, right? Just off the bat, let's be straight up forward, no bullshit. An average IT employee in North America will average about 100,000 or more, excluding bonuses, excluding promotions, and excluding pay raises per year. You can do the math. 100,000 a year, you work for 10 years is 1.2 million. You do 20 years is 2.4. And I'm telling you, this is just without any promotions, without any bonuses, and this is just an average. And you know, an average takes across the board, right? And I'll go down into some more specifics, and you'll really see exactly where the beef lies, right? An average professional will earn about $3 million in a 20-year career. I mean, I come from Cameroon again, and $3 million where I come from, even here in America, it's not everyday stuff. That is why Forbes magazine keeps track of the number of millionaires in North America. That's how important, but that's how hard it is to get there. And when I discovered the secret here at Icon IT, we discovered the secret. We discovered that a lot of everyday people like you and me are able to learn a skill, be good at that skill, get employed within that skill, and quietly, over a 20-year, 10-year, 20-year career, be able to be millionaires. Then we realize that the concept of millionaireship is not too far-fetched. It's not something which happens in dream movies. It's not something that happens in the sky. It's reality, because we're experiencing it. Where I stand now, you ask anybody who works in the industry, you ask the CTO of Icon IT who is online watching us today, my partners, Nabil and everybody, they can tell you, you can easily project it. You see, you do the math, you see where you're going to be in 10 years, right? So it's interesting to understand, and that's just the average. Employment in the IT field, and this is what is most important and interesting to me. Employment in the IT field is projected to grow 13% from 2020 to 2030, faster than the average for all professions. I want that to sink. I want everyone to understand that. We are 2 years into that time frame, so you still have 8 years, right? The IT industry is growing faster than any industry in the world today. And there is a reason for that. I want us to take a step back and just think about some of the everyday things we do. We hear today about the car called Tesla, right? Which uses battery technology. We hear about autonomous driving cars that are going to be driving by themselves without human beings sitting in it. And if you don't believe, get ready. It's on the way. It's going to be here by the end of the next 10 to 15 years at the most. Now, those cars, it's projected that those cars are going to generate about 100 gigabytes of data a day. What that means, you multiply that, extrapolated by the number of millions of those cars that will be existing, that will be trillions of petabytes of data. Now, those companies need the people called database administrators to be able to manage that data. They need help, because when the data keeps going into that database, they need people like you and me who will be able to sit in front of a computer managing those databases, making sure the data is safe, making sure the data can be utilized properly, making sure that the data is being able to employ for the benefits of the company. That's just one IT role. That's just one I'm talking to you about. This whole example I just gave you, just one. And there are about 25 to 30 of them. And I'll talk to you about a few really key ones where I encourage you to be able to focus on, right? So these are the programs that here at Icon IT we can really help you. And these are the programs we selected because these are the programs that gives you, number one, the ease to entry into the industry, and number two, the capacity to really accelerate your career and accelerate your earnings, right? The first one to the left, SSM, it's the Safe Scrum Master. I know some people might be online who've heard about the Safe Scrum Master, right? And I'll talk to you a little bit about what that is. Their average starting pay is $120,000 a year. We have the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate. You've heard a lot about AWS probably because of Amazon. If you haven't heard about AWS, it's fine. But AWS is actually the company, the technology company that powers Amazon. And it also provides services to other businesses, right? They need people like you and me to help them out, to go in every day and do work from them from the comfort of your home, right? Average pay for an AWS certified solutions architect associate is about 122,000. So excuse me a minute. I'm here in Texas and it's a little bit warm. Now we also have the AWS certified DevOps engineer. That's part of the AWS stack. The DevOps engineer is one of the people that helps in the back end, making sure the automated systems, deployment of codes, deployment of different protocols within the IT infrastructure follows through, right? And the AWS certified DevOps engineer professional actually averages about $130,000 a year, right? Then we have the Oracle database administrator. 60% of all Fortune 500 companies, these are the top 500 companies in America, uses an Oracle database administrator. What that means is that at every point in time, 60% of all the top companies in America will be looking to hire an Oracle database administrator. Talk about them, the Google, the Facebooks, the Macy's, the Walmarts, the Targets, the Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, name it. They are all looking to hire database administrators. So these are the 4 programs primarily we offer within Icon IT. There is a 5th program we offer, which is called the Corporate Professional Training Program. And that program is designed exactly to help everyday people like you. Once you get into the corporate world, what becomes of you? How are you expected to carry yourself within the corporate world? How are you expected to navigate in order to grow, in order to rise in your career and be able to be a high achiever? So you go out there and you hit it hard and you'll be able to make a better life for yourself. So we are able also to help with that process, to teach you all those little things, right? As I told you from the beginning, for those who joined earlier, this is where the secret is. This is where the gold resides. This is where people you don't even know. A lot of us, I believe, you have neighbors, you never see them going out and you're wondering what they are doing in their homes. They're just sitting behind the desk. Like I do, if I had a way, I would show you my desk here, multiple computers, and they're just working and they're getting paid handsomely to do what they enjoy doing. And more importantly, in the comfort of their home. You know, I have a very good friend and a brother of mine. He happens to be the CTO of the company too. And he told me something one day very funny. He said, you know, Gustav, from the time COVID came and we were forced to work from home, I've gotten so comfortable in it. Any job that is not going to let me work in my pajamas, I'm not working for them. That's the power of having that kind of choice, because you belong in an industry where they are looking for you and you're not the one looking for them. They are looking for you because it's hard to get people who are trained, who understand technology, and who can just go in and produce. And one of the interesting things I would like to talk is when you hear about the word technology, it doesn't mean everybody within the technology industry is coding some code or is being a developer or is trying to type some complicated computer algorithms. No. There are people within the IT industry who do that. There are people who manage databases. There are people who manage deployments, automations, right? Just making sure things work in a synchronized fashion without a lot of human interference. There are people who just manage organizing those people work, who is called the Scrum Master, who just helps to organize those different technologies to come together and do their job together. We will have future sessions where we'll be able to go down into more details in each and every of these particular programs, so you have a better understanding. But today, I just wanted to give you a lay of the land, to give you the ideas that are out there, but to let you know that it's important to not overthink it. Make that decision and let's get going here. Make it and move, because the revolution is happening. It's happening fast, and it waits for nobody. You know, the best time to have planted a tree was 10 years ago. The other best time was yesterday, but the next best time is today, right? If you're on the line today with us, you are blessed to be on the line, because you'll be getting some information that I know will transform you and will transform the story for you and your families, right? So here at Icon IT, who qualifies for the Icon IT program? Who are the people who should be doing this program? I know if I didn't show you this slide before, if I just ask you, you'll probably be telling me, excluding yourself, thinking about people who you know growing up with, who are the smartest guys in the block, who are probably always the first in class, right? Who are the ones who won all the prizes at graduation. For some of us at graduation, we were always sitting in the back. Our job was just to clap, right? But the beautiful thing about the IT industry today is that everyone has a place in there. It doesn't matter your level of intellect. It doesn't matter whether you're a genius or you're not an A student. It doesn't matter whether you've gone to the top school or not. It doesn't even, in a lot of cases, it doesn't even matter what qualification you have. That's what I'm talking about today. It doesn't even matter. I tell you why. I live in Austin, Texas, and a few weeks ago, companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, they do an open session where they call people to come in and they put computers on the table and they give basic computer assignments for people to do. And you do it, you're successful at it, they give you a job. They don't ask you a question. They don't ask you whether you have a degree, you have a GED, you have this, you have that. They don't ask you none of that. They give you a job. You know why? Because in the IT industry, it is about skill. It's not about theory. I just happen to be somebody who works in the industry who also can talk. You don't need to know how to talk. You don't need to know how to write a long book. You don't need to. You just need to be intelligent enough, which is just an average human intelligence, to be able to learn software and replicate it. You are not creating processes. You are just following existing processes, replicating it, delivering value, and getting paid handsomely for that, right? So who qualifies to be part of the Icon IT program? Everyday ambitious and hardworking people, hungry for more. That's why at the beginning of the program, I asked everybody who was in the line. I said, if you're on the line, drop me a note. Let me see you type hungry, because that's what is going to take you far, not only in this program, not only in this, becoming successful as an IT engineer, but also becoming successful in life in general. Nothing is beyond the human will. Nothing is beyond human capacity when you put your mind to it. It is said commitment helps you start, but consistency is what helps you finish, right? Are you tired of working hard and you have nothing to show for? Are you tired of being sick and tired of working hard and you have nothing to show for? If you're listening to me tonight and you feel that fatigue, you feel like you've been around for a while and nothing is happening, then you're talking to the right people. You're listening on the right live stream. I say that because I lived that experience in my own life. I came to America as an immigrant from Cameroon at the age of 23 in 2000, in the year 2000. I worked as a nursing assistant. 2 years later, I went to school. I became a nurse. I started working as a nurse. I had 4 jobs, working around the clock. I couldn't see my wife often. I couldn't see my children. I was tired all the time. I barely had savings in my bank account. I would take my family to a trip back home, spend $10,000, and I come back and I start life all over. And I realized it wasn't going to work. And the saving grace for me was the opportunity to join the IT industry. My cousin talked to me about it. He showed me what he made every 2 weeks, and I made a decision. I took a 240,000-mile car. I drove myself from Minnesota all the way to Maryland and became part of a program at that time. And 9 months later, I got a first job. They offered me $95,000 a year. And they gave me a signing bonus of $7,000. And they gave me a relocation bonus of $4,000. For the first time in my life living in America, 10 years after I came to America, I opened my bank account and I had been paid $11,000. I looked at it, I took the picture, I framed it up, I called my wife, I said, you stop working for a week and take a break. And I say this because not to try to sell anything to anybody who is online with us today. We live in a time today where a lot of people suffer because of lack of information. When you don't have information, you cannot make progress. Our number one priority here at Icon IT, while we're doing these live shows every so often, is to give you information so that you make informed decisions, so that you don't go turning around, building your energy, wasting your energy, getting older, getting frustrated, and at the end of the day, you feel dejected. You know, there's a triple threat I always talk about. You know what that triple threat is? Old, sick, and broke. You know, becoming old is natural. We all get old. We can't control that, right? Sickness, yeah, we might control it a little bit. You eat right, you exercise, you take care of your body, you take care of your mind, you make sure your spirit is in order. You can control the volume and the velocity at which sickness will get at you. But being broke, it's totally within your control. There is no way you can put that on God, you can put that on nature, you can put that on the passage of time. It's all on you, right? So one of the things that the IT industry does, it helps you avert that triple threat: being old, being sick, and being broke. At least if you get old, if you get a little sick, you will not be broke to take care of yourself. Are we together? We also, if you have a strong desire to change your circumstance, if you want to see things differently for yourself, then you qualify to be part of the IT industry. If you are willing to challenge yourself and learn something new, a new and high-paying skill, then you belong to this industry, right? It's usually said a lot of people die at 30, but are buried at 70. Because when you stop challenging yourself, when you stop growing, when you stop stretching, it means you're not growing. And when you stop growing, what else is there? What else is there when you stop growing? Right? So if you're willing to challenge yourself, if you're willing to do something different, because it will take a radical pivot from what you are used to. I remember when I went into the IT industry, when I started learning a program like this 10 years ago, I was coming from the background of a nurse. And a lot of people told me, you will not understand. I said, no, what do you mean I can't understand? When we're born as human beings, no, our brains were not conditioned for one thing. The human capacity, the human brain is able to do anything. It's able to understand anything. The key is how determined and how hungry you are. That's why I told you from the beginning, and I'll repeat it again. All you need is hunger and determination, and you're going to be part of this, right? If you want to believe you qualify, don't ask me. You want to position yourself for growth? You want to position yourself for career advancement? You want to be able to move up the ladder? You want to be able to position yourself in a way that by the time you get to a certain age, depending on your target, you're doing it? I have a young friend of mine out here in Austin. He called me about 4 days ago and he said, Gustav, how you doing? I said, I'm doing well, bro. How are you? He said, I'm fine. It's been a while. What have you been up to? I told him all the great things I've been trying to do and all kinds of things. He said, hey, he's doing well. I said, how are you? He said, he's fine. I said, where are you nowadays? He said, well, the last year and a half I've been working for Microsoft. I said, that's nice. Wow, what do you do for Microsoft? He said, well, I'm the director of ISV. I'm the director of ISV implementations. What it basically means is Microsoft partners with other businesses so they can use Microsoft solutions to build their businesses. He helps with that. This guy is not a techie. This guy knows nothing about coding computers. He's just a sales guy. But there is also room for him in that industry. So we started chatting a little bit. I to ask him, how's Microsoft going? I mean, I hear, people get very paid handsomely. He told me, hey, you know what? I just want to give you some numbers here randomly. And I'm not trying to bullshit. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just telling you how it is, right? He said, when I got in, of course, at my level, this guy is 31 years old. He said, when I got in, they dropped me $210K for my base. They gave me $200,000 worth of Microsoft stock, which vests over 4 years. So every year they give him $50,000 worth of Microsoft stock at the price at that time. And we know what the stock has been. It's grown over 1,000% in the last 10 years. Are we together? So the total comp is somewhere about $300,000-$400,000. This is a 31-year-old guy. Somebody at some point, I believe, told him about the Go Rush, which is what I'm telling you today for free. That is where it's happening. So you can do the math. At the age of 31, grossing about $300,000-$400,000 a year. By the time he puts 10, 15, 20 years of career, he's worth about $5 million. So we are not talking here about some sales thing. It's not a sales gimmick. We're not trying to sell nothing here. We're just passing information based on numbers that are real. Are we together? So if you want to understand what is really going on, stay tuned with us. If you look in the message board, you will see a link. And on that link, if you click that link, you'll be able to give us some information which we can be able to stay in touch with you. We'll provide you more details about our different programs. We'll provide you details about when we have information sessions like this for the specific programs, so you can hop on, learn more about those different programs, understand exactly what the programs are doing and how you can be part of it. All right. One of our partners is going to be sharing the link in the charts, and you can be able to just register real quick for that. So these are the challenges that here at Icon IT we strive to solve for people. These are challenges that we have lived ourselves, and it made us motivated, determined, willing to go all the way to solve these challenges for people. Many people are stuck in low-paying, no-growth, dead-end jobs. You talk to a lot of people at the grocery stores that look tired. How are you today? Hey, man, another day in paradise. And you plant, and I'm looking at that gentleman, and I'm telling myself, and you still have to do this for another 20, 30 years? How are you going to survive? Right? He hates his job. In fact, statistics show that the highest heart attack rate in America is on Monday mornings. You know why? Because a lot of people are going to jobs they hate. They wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and the heart says, didn't I tell you should abandon this job? Boom! In hospital. Right? So the IT industry gives you a chance to be able to do something you love, but most importantly, something that is highly remunerating. Highly, highly remunerating, right? Another challenge we seek to solve is to solve the challenge of more months at the end of the paycheck. The statistics tell us today that about 75% of Americans living in America, people living in America today, are 1 or 2 paychecks away from bankruptcy. So if 1 or 2 paychecks stop from coming, they're bankrupt. I know today there's been a lot of struggle in the economy, and part of the thing is because of inflation. And inflation is when supplies, demand is too high, so prices start going up due to COVID, right? And part of the reason, I'm not an economist, but these are just some different things, right? Part of the reason is that during the COVID-19 pandemic era, the government had to print money and distribute to people. You know why? Because 75% of people are 2 paychecks away from bankruptcy. They can't leave if they lose their jobs for 3 months. And it's a big part of it is not their fault. They just do dead-end jobs that work so many hours, get paid so little, there's not even enough to feed the family, take care of your bills, talk less of saving up for rainy days when things don't work out the way you hope, right? So if you're sick and tired of having more months at the end of your paycheck, you're in the right place. This is where you ought to be, right? If you're 1 emergency away from bankruptcy, 1 emergency means what? 1 emergency means you're driving on the highway like I was doing one time with my old Honda Accord. This is about 6-7 years ago. When I'd been working for 3 years by that time, but I loved this car and I just wanted to drive it to the ground. Had about 290,000 miles at that point. I'm driving on the highway and it stops. And I get a tow truck, take it to the mechanic. The mechanic says the engine is bad. I started smiling. The guy said, why are you smiling? The engine is bad and you're smiling? I said, yeah, it's okay. It's no problem. He was asking me, so how are you going to survive without your car? I said, no, that's fine. I'm leaving from here. I'm stopping at the dealership and I'm picking up another car. I just love this car because it helped me transition during some difficult times of my life. So I wanted to drive it till the car tells me, Gustav, I love you. I can't take it no more, right? But for a lot of people, that singular event would have been a cause for a possible heart attack at that point. Because they don't have $500-600 to repair the car, talk less of going to get a new car. I'm not saying this to minimize any effort by anybody. I'm just saying that there are options available. There are different things within the confines of the economy. And these things are not too far-fetched. They are not too impossible to reach. There is no impossibility. It's not even as difficult as sometimes you're made to believe. At Icon IT, we try to facilitate that process. We simplify it. We demystify it. We make it possible to see it as reality and to know that it is reachable and to reach it. I know not too long ago, there's a young man, he's 21 years old, and he joined the IT industry with us, and he works for one of the top banking companies in America today. And he got a job, of course, paying him certainly over 6 figures. And my phone rang at night, about 9 p.m. at night, which is typically late, of course. And I picked up the phone, and there was a gentleman on the other line. And he said, "Hello, sir." I said, "Hello, how can I help you?" He said, "Well, sir, you don't know me. My name is this, that, and I'm calling you. My son is this. He went to, he did his IT training with Icon IT, and he showed me his contract of what they're going to be paying him." I said, "Let me just call you and make sure that my son hasn't gotten into trouble." Right? That my son hasn't gotten into trouble. That nobody is going to come arrest him for doing some illegal stuff. I said, "No, Papa, calm down yourself. It's okay. Your son is just a determined young man, and he's fortunate somebody told him about us. And what he is making is what he deserves." There are many opportunities like that for each and everybody who just wants it bad enough, right? But it was an interesting incident because he just told me exactly of some of the things I'm talking to you about today. The reason why is because the young man's father moved here to America 35 years ago. And for a fact, he's never seen anything per year in earnings like what his son is making at 21. So I expect him to be suspicious. Because it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense that a 21-year-old boy will go do a 4, 5, 6 months program, certification program, comes out and start making more money than he would ever make till he dies. I explained to him basically what it entails. I explained to him what it means, how his son got to where he got to, and the fact that it's available. And that is what I'm explaining to you today. And don't take anything from me. You can go back and do your own research on all the things we talked to you today about, all right? And when you do your own research, you come back to us and we're going to help show you the way, all right? If you're behind on your bills, if every month you're robbing Paul to pay Peter, that's a tough one. Then this is where you have to be. Because within this industry, a lot of people work in this industry. If they're honest to you, they'll tell you they don't worry about their bills. Their bills are on automated systems. They don't need to write checks no more. You set the automation, it just gets paid on the days they come through. Because in some of the jobs, you get paid a week, you get paid in 2 weeks, but a significant amount of money that you don't need to worry about your bills. You're worried more about legacy stuff. You're worried more about building the future. You're worried more about things that are more significant and more important and more rewarding, right? You don't have no clear financial plan or a plan for the future. You don't have no way to project how it's going to happen 5 years from now. You don't want to be in a situation like most people. And you ask them 5 years from now, if this happens, how are you going to handle that? Well, by God's grace, God is on the throne. We count only on God. No. We cannot count only on God. We have to do something. And these are the some things that are available. These are the some things that can totally transform that, and God will give the energy and the strength, right? So these are some of the challenges that our programs seek to address, to help those who are feeling stuck, to help those who feel like there's more month beyond their paychecks, those who are living from paychecks to paychecks. If you're one emergency away from bankruptcy, if you're behind on your bills, if you just want to change careers and do something more challenging, something more rewarding, this is where you want to be. And how is our path to success? How do we drive people towards success in this program when they come in to help them join this industry, to help them be part of this revolution that is happening, right? We teach you from scratch, easy to learn, high in demand, highly sought after by many Fortune 500 companies, these skills. We teach you through solid hands-on skills to job trainings. So we don't just talk to you like I'm doing virtually, but we talk, we show you PowerPoints, we give you do assignments on your computer, and we take you step by step to build that knowledge, build that confidence, build that experience, and give you a chance to be able to be productive, right? We walk along with you. We make sure you're doing your homework. We make sure we're giving you all the knowledge you need. We show you the different things you can do, the different tricks of the trade. We even get you to teaching people how to even apply for jobs and interview for these jobs. We do all of that because we come from a place where we believe that the cake is massive. As I am talking to you today, right now, if you go to Google and Google it, how many IT jobs are open today? Just in America is over 500,000. By the time you start breaking it down to the different IT roles like database administrator, Scrum Master, every day you have 50, 60, 70,000 of those individual IT program jobs available on the market. Nobody to fill them. The jobs are there, people don't have the skills. The jobs are there, people don't want it. They don't know about it. Now you know about it, so you no longer have no excuse. Your job is just to get going, because today I will go past your mind. I don't want you to start processing too much in your head and asking yourself, how am I going to, how is not it's not your business. Your business is why. Are you behind on your bills? Do you want to do something significant? Do you want to prepare a legacy for you and your children and the rest of your generations? Then you should start thinking about a high demand skill, easy to learn, highly financially rewarding, so you can position yourself to be able to make sure that nobody from your lineage ever has to go through some of the difficulties you had to go through. So one of the ways we're going to help you with this process, our path to success, is that we also share with you the secrets on how to apply and get hired into these high earning jobs. Because they are there. And for your information, why I say it's a big league is because only 8% of people living in North America, especially in the United States of America, make $100,000 and more. So you're going to play in the big leagues. But you know what? You were born to play there. All your life you've been preparing for this moment, for a time like this when opportunity will come knocking. And the question will not be about the opportunity, the question will be about you. Whether you spend time asking many questions, trying to overanalyze while days are going, weeks are going, years are going, or you just want to take advantage. Take a bet on yourself and see what happens. And now what happens after the program? After you've taken part of any of the programs, you're part of the IT industry, what happens? Number one, you join the exclusive 6-figure earning club. As I told you, only 8% of people in America make it $100,000 and more. Endless potential for growth and pay raises. You have a clear path to becoming a millionaire. Please just give me a second. Let me tell the kids. Are you there? I have a live presentation. You guys be quiet, please. Right? You have a clear path to becoming a millionaire. I can pull up a simple application here. I just do a little demonstration. We'll see if it's possible to share that. And I'll share it with you. And you'll see how easy it is. It's not hype. It's not BS. It's just straightforward, direct. You can project where you're going to be in the next 15, 20 years, right? You can change the story for your family and for future generations. But most importantly, you can impact your community and leave a legacy. Because when it all comes down to it, every human being wants to be remembered for something great they did. Nobody wants to depart this world, and nobody remembers them. That is where legacy comes into play. What is the legacy you're going to leave behind? Can you craft that through the number one earning and hiring industry in America today? I want you to think through that very carefully, to ask yourself, what is it that I want? And if this is the path, go ahead, click on the link. Register so we can keep in touch. We'll give you information when we have breakdowns of the different programs and let you know how to be part of this revolution. I have so many stories about great stories, great achievements, great transformations that can happen. I can spend all day talking about that because we do this, number one, out of a lot of passion for what we do. Because from the day we learned about this opportunity, I remember 10 years ago, when I got into this industry, I told myself, I was angry. I was angry because I knew a few people who had done it and doing community activities, they come around activities, and they're pointing at them like there's some lords, like there's some untouchable, they're too smart, they got some intelligence that nobody else has. And so when I got involved in the industry and I realized anybody can do it, and I say that with true conviction. I have 3 beautiful girls. My first girl is 15 years old. Yes, she can do it. The CTO of our company, his son is 14 years old. The guy is already qualified as a database administrator. Unfortunately, he can't work because he's underage, but he knows how to run databases. He knows how to do it because this is software. These are programs. You are not creating nothing new. You are not trying to quote something. You are not writing complicated scripts like my friend Nicholas Chencho, our great developer, does. No, you're not doing any of that. You just learn solutions which are already existing, and you just follow the instructions and you deliver on those. And you get remunerated in a way that you've never been. So if you're asking yourself, is this for me? For the first time, if you've never believed anybody, believe me. Yes, it is for you. And for you. And for you. Because you are like me and like everybody else that is within the industry. There is nothing special about us. There is nothing superior about our intelligence or anybody who works in the IT industry. There is nothing that distinguishes them from a human perspective. You know the only thing that distinguishes them from the human perspective? Their will to win. If you feel me here, if you feel me in your heart, shut your ears to anything else. Take your destiny in your hand. Hold it. Make that decision and hold it. And I tell you why. I insist on this because we all are human. You're spending an hour with us today and you go back to the things you've always done, to the people you've always been with. And you try to explain to somebody. I was listening live to a certain gentleman, Mr. Gustav, and his team from Icon IT, and they were telling me some stories. And I thought, forget about those things. Who says that? Let me tell you, if you ask the temperature from a tortoise, the tortoise will tell you the temperature. If you ask it from the giraffe will tell you the temperature. It will be different. It will be warmer for the tortoise down there. It will be colder for the giraffe up there. Both of them are right. Did any of them tell you any different? Did any of them lie? Both of them are right. The difference is that they're only telling you the temperature within the scope of where they stand. That's it. They're telling you the temperature within the scope of where they stand. So I am telling you the temperature today within the scope of where it's possible. That there at that top, at that 8% in the IT industry, that is where the gold rush is happening. That is where the revolution is happening. That is where everyday people like you listening to me right now can plug yourself in and forever change things for yourself, build legacies, change the story for your family, and be able to stand one day and also exclaim and say you made it through. It's not as complicated as you think. It's not sophisticated. It's even easier than a lot of things a lot of people have done, including myself. I remember when I came to America, I worked as a CNA for 3 years. That was a tough job. If you've ever worked as a nursing assistant, you put up your left hand where you are and you tell me if that job is easy. That is a tough job. What haven't we done? I did not work marketing, selling vitamins. I go buy old cars from the auction and repair them and sell them on Facebook and things like that. Boy, I've even done door-to-door sales. If you've done door-to-door sales, you know they are tough jobs and they are tough jobs. If you've done that, you know they're hard jobs and they're hard jobs. I'm here to tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, that it's possible. I'm here to tell you that there's an industry that exists called the IT industry. And there's a company that exists called Icon IT Consulting, who are obsessed with helping just everyday people like you listening to us. Just walk in, get the hands-on training, get the coaching you need, and be able to change completely your career aspirations. I remember even when I became a nurse, I had 4 jobs. The first year I worked 4 jobs around the clock, I made $65,000. And I got in the IT industry, they offered me $95,000. I did the math and it didn't add up in my head. I said, Lord, there got to be something wrong. The first day I received my pay with my bonuses added and everything else, $11,000, as I told you, I didn't believe. For a second, I thought I should call the human resource department and find out if there was a mistake. And I know each time I share these stories, I have friends of mine like Kingsley Pogo, Achu, and a bunch of my brothers who would always laugh because this is real. This is real stuff here. We are talking here about life. We are not talking here about a video game. We are not talking here about a movie made in Hollywood where everyone has to be perfect. I'm just being transparent with each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just telling you that it's possible. And I'm telling you that the time is now. And I'm telling you that the revolution is happening as you are staying and maybe you didn't know, maybe you didn't pay attention, but the train is moving. That train is moving. There are companies out there wanting you. They need you. They need your skill. They need your intellect. They need your capacity. They need your ability. Today is common knowledge in the marketplace that you're working every day. You have letters and phone calls and emails. People trying to hire you over to different companies because the demand is high. So if you feel me, if you've been following through what we're saying, we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here. Please go ahead, click on those links in the different platforms where you are, fill in your name, give us some information so we can put you within our system, and we'll be able to throw out some very, very important information to you so we can join the different live shows we'll be doing, explaining the different programs, explaining the different programs specifically, going into more details so you can really understand how to. But in the meantime, I just wanted to share with you exactly some of the things we have coming ahead, right? Some of the different programs we already have scheduled that are going to start in the next few weeks, in the next few months, so you can get yourself ready, line up with us so you can get yourself involved, right? We have the Scrum Master program starting on, the next one is starting on July 19th. We have an AWS Certified Architect Associate program that will be starting on June 18th. We have the AWS DevOps Engineer program that will be starting on July 23rd. And we also have the Database Administrator program, which will be starting in September. And we're going to be keeping up information on that one, right? But it's very important to understand that as long as you're alive, it's possible. The key difference between those who are successful in life and those who are not successful in life is that the successful just keep hitting. They just keep trying. They take information like this, they just go and they start doing it. They don't try to overthink it, because when you try to overthink, you're trying to overthink what you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know. Are we together? So it's a great joy to have each and every one of you on the line tonight. Thank you. I know I promised to spend just an hour with you. It's been so interesting. I didn't even realize that it's at the top of the hour right now. I certainly don't want to keep you longer than that. We appreciate you for taking the time to join us. Go ahead, please click on the link. Join our open houses. And our open house sessions will be live sessions like this on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all the different platforms where we'll be talking to you about the different programs. You'll be seeing some different people. Our CTO will be coming on. Our CEO, Jake, will be coming on. We'll be having Nico, some of our technical people coming on to explain to you. We'll be having some people who've gone through our programs and have been successful coming to talk to you. Our goal is to get each and everyone who is willing, hungry, and able to be part of this revolution, because this is a revolution that may never come again in your lifetime. And if you're alive now, you're alive at the best possible time. You have a great night. You have a wonderful rest of your night if you're in the part of the world where it's night. Whatever part of the world you are, blessings to you all. Please go ahead and fill the link, and we'll be in touch pretty soon. Have a good one, and bye for now.